Morning, guys. So, you've probably been hearing the claims and seeing the photos of the children in Gaza who are basically emaciated. And obviously, the claims that Israel is starving the kids in Gaza. And it's interesting because you see these photos and you see a photo with a mother who's plenty fed, who's plenty, satiated, let's say, holding her child, which is basically damn near a skeleton, right? My friends, I gotta tell you, I'm in a very unique position to basically demonstrate to you that these photos are complete and absolute bullshit. Do you know how I know that? Well, I was born in the former Soviet Union. I came here when I was 7 to the States, but the first 6 years of my life, first almost 7 years of my life, I spent in the Soviet Union. And we lived in a city called Lvov. Today they call it Lviv, in the westernmost part of Ukraine. So, as you can imagine, under the Soviet Union, it's not like today you could just go to a supermarket and get whatever you want, right? Out of season, tomatoes, fruits, etc., vegetables, at any time, in any place, right? At that time, you couldn't get things out of season. That's how you get all these, obsession with potatoes and beets and all the rest of it, right? Because these things grow in the winter. You can get them at any time. So, my friends, if my parents wanted to get these things that were out of season, you know where they had to go? They had to get on a train because they didn't have a car, and they had to go to Moscow. And that's what my father would do. On occasion, he would go to Moscow, and he would buy like jeans for my mother, he would buy shoes for my mother, whatever it is. He would stand in line, let's say one pair of jeans. And also what he would buy was bananas and oranges. Ironically, the oranges came from Israel to the Soviet Union, some Morocco, some Israel. Bananas, just other things you literally could not even get. Even in season, you couldn't get them in Lvov, right? People who lived in places like Uzbekistan and Georgia and Armenia didn't have that problem because the stuff grew naturally over there, right? Lvov is like Seattle, right? You don't have things growing. So he would come back and with boxes of this stuff, right? Folks, who was the first person to get to eat all of that stuff? You're looking at him. Not because I was a privileged little kid, not because I was spoiled, but because, according to my parents and other parents like them, they will all tell you the same thing. Talk to any Soviet parent, they'll all say the same thing. And I'll say it in Russian, and I'll say it in English. Мы сначала детей кормили, все давали детям, потом, что осталось, мы кушали сами. We first gave everything, most of the things to the kids. We first fed our kids. Folks, you ever see a bird, a mama bird, catches the worm or whatever she catches in her mouth? Who is she giving it to first? Who's getting it first? The kids, the little baby birds, okay? And then whatever was left over, we got to have little morsels, right? My friends, they won't let me live it down to this day. They remind me every day. Мы все тебе давали, все тебе. We gave everything to you, baby. Folks, I'm a grown-ass man, you know what I'm saying? But they just reminding me of the Soviet Union and what we left and what we have now, right? That's a different story. My friends, okay, so either these mothers are not giving their kids first, either this photo was complete bullshit, or if they're not giving to the kids first, what does that mean? It means that they are turning their kids into cannon fodder, which is entirely plausible because they've done that with, when they say, if my child becomes a martyr, it's my greatest joy, right? So the child can become a martyr either via, putting a bomb belt on himself and blowing himself up, or they can starve their child. Take all the food for themselves and starve the child. Plausible, but folks, highly improbable in this particular case. In this particular case, I suspect that these photos are complete BS, and that essentially normal mothers, if these are normal mothers, would give the food, and we're assuming they are, would give the food first to their kid, just like any other mother on God's green earth, whether it be a human or a little bird. My friends, that's how we know these photos are absolute horse crap. Thank you very much.